could have thrown them out of the promised land, could have locked the doors and left them weeping on the threshold. He would have had every right. But that is not what he did. Instead, God went to Hosea and said, I want you to do something for me. I want you to go and marry a prostitute. And I want you to have children of prostitution because my people have prostituted themselves by worshiping other gods. It's not every day you get such an assignment from the Lord. But Hosea, unlike his fellow Israelites, was a faithful follower of Yahweh. What God said, Hosea did. And so he went down to the red light district of Samaria looking for a wife. And there he found Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim. Now, some people say Gomer, which sounds a little more sophisticated. But I say Gomer because I used to watch that television show. We can only hope that she was prettier than her name, which I looked up in a book of Hebrew baby names and found after the name Gomer this warning. You find it difficult to say no and mean it. So, Gomer was just a girl who couldn't say no. Lucky for Hosea. Because when he proposed to her, I imagine him doing it like this, right there on a street in the red light district of Samaria, dropping down on one knee to say, Gomer, will you be my wife? To which she replied, golly! No, I mean it, Gomer. I want you to marry me, will you? And she said, Shazam! But in the end, she didn't say no. She said yes. It was a small but beautiful ceremony with Diblaim weeping as he gave her away, weeping tears of joy, because he never thought this would happen for his daughter. She and Hosea went on a brief honeymoon to the hill country of Judea and then came back and rented a 2-bedroom apartment just above the main street of Samaria. It was fun at first, freshening up the paint, picking out some new curtains, doing the grocery shopping together, and then eating off their wedding china night after night. But eventually, Gomer got bored. And one night, Hosea came home and found her sitting in front of her vanity in a slinky dress, putting on makeup. Where are you going? He asked. Out, she said. And that's all she said. He waited up for her as long as he could, pacing the floors and looking out the window, but finally he went to bed exhausted. He woke up when he heard the sound of the latch on the bedroom door at 3 o'clock in the morning. He didn't say anything, just lay there in bed as she undressed and got in beside him. But he could smell the cigarette smoke in her hair, the traces of someone else's cologne. It went on like that for weeks, for months. Gomer would sleep until noon, and then in the evening after supper, she would begin to get dressed for work. She would stay out until the wee hours of the morning, sometimes coming home just before daybreak. And Hosea would lie there, biting his tongue, trying not to say anything to her, until finally it got to be too much. And he blurted out in the darkness, "Doesn't it mean anything to you?" "What?" she asked. "Our marriage. Doesn't it mean anything to you?" "Of course it does," she said. "But Lord knows, you're not going to make any money in the prophecy business. And somebody has got to make some money, especially since we've got a baby on the way." "We do?" "Yes, little Hosea Jr. He'll be here in about 6 months. Well, this was news to Hosea, and it wasn't exactly good news. He lay there for the longest time in the darkness doing the math. 6 months. Calculating until he had determined that the child might not and was probably not his. Tossed and turned for a long time before deciding that even if it wasn't his child, it wasn't the child's fault. He would try to be the best daddy he could be. But then God told Hosea what to name the child. Name him Jezreel. For in a little while I will punish the house of Jehu for the blood of Jezreel. And I will put an end to the kingdom of the house of Israel. On that day I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. It's hard to love a child with a name like that. But Gomer conceived again and gave birth to a little girl. The Lord told Hosea, name her Lo-Ruhamah, not pitied. For I will no longer have pity on the house of Israel or forgive them. But I will have pity on the house of Judah. And I will save them by the Lord their God. I will not save them by bow or by sword or by war or by horses or by horsemen.